The vault stood in the center of the Galactic Council's most secure facility, a monument to failure and legend in equal measure. For 3,000 years, the armor had waited inside its crystalline prison, silent and still, rejecting every being that dared approach it. The armor itself was a work of art that transcended any known civilization's capability. It seemed to be made of liquid metal that held a solid form, shifting between colors that no species could properly name. Ancient text recovered from a dead world claimed the armor was sentient, that it would choose its wearer, and that whoever it chose would become the champion of 1,000 worlds. But in 3 millennia, it had chosen no one. Commander Vex of the Krillian Empire stood before the vault, his 4 arms crossed in frustration. He was the latest in a long line of candidates, warriors and leaders from across the galaxy who believed themselves worthy. The Krillians were among the most decorated military species in known space. Their exoskeletons were naturally armored, their strength was legendary, and their tactical minds were sharper than most organic computers. If anyone deserved the armor, Vex believed it was him. The vault doors opened with a hiss of pressurized air. The chamber beyond glowed with soft blue light, and there, suspended in a stasis field, hung the armor. It was beautiful in a way that made Vex's primary heart skip a beat. The armor seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting slightly, as if it were alive and sleeping. Vex had prepared for this moment his entire life. He had won battles on 16 worlds, saved billions of lives, and earned the respect of the entire Galactic Council. He stepped forward with confidence. The moment his claw touched the edge of the stasis field, pain exploded through his nervous system. It was not physical pain, but something deeper, something that reached into his very essence and found him lacking. Vex screamed and fell backward, his armored body crashing against the chamber floor. The armor had not moved. It simply hung there, indifferent to his suffering. Medical teams rushed in and carried Vex away. He would recover physically, but the rejection left a mark that could not be healed. Another failure, High Chancellor Mora said, watching from the observation deck. She was a Valetian, a species known for their wisdom and patience. Her silver skin reflected the chamber's light as she turned to her aide. "How many does that make?" 17,462 documented attempts, the aide replied, checking his datapad. Countless more undocumented ones throughout history. Mora sighed, a sound like wind through crystal caves. Perhaps the legends are wrong. Perhaps the armor is simply broken, unable to bond with anyone. Or perhaps, a voice said from behind them, the right person has not yet arrived. Mora turned to see Ambassador Thane, a representative from one of the newer species, to join the Galactic Council. The Zyphers were an aquatic species, peaceful and philosophical. Thane's environmental suit bubbled softly as he moved closer to the observation window. "You believe someone worthy exists?" Mora asked. "I believe the armor knows something we do not," Thane replied. "It was created with a purpose. That purpose remains unfulfilled." Below them, technicians sealed the vault once more. The armor would wait, as it had always waited, for someone who met its mysterious criteria. The criteria that had eluded the strongest warriors, the wisest leaders, the most advanced artificial intelligences, and every combination thereof. The galaxy's best had tried and failed. What the armor wanted remained the universe's greatest mystery. Across the galaxy, on a small blue world in an unremarkable star system, humanity had just achieved faster-than-light travel. They were newcomers to the cosmic stage, primitive by galactic standards, barely past their own planetary conflicts. They had sent their first delegation to the Galactic Council, hoping to establish peaceful relations and learn from the older, wiser civilizations that populated the stars. The delegation was small, just 5 humans aboard a ship that was held together more by determination than by advanced technology. Riley Chen sat in the navigator's seat, watching the stars stream past in ways that still made her head spin. She was a former soldier, chosen for the delegation because of her combat experience and her ability to stay calm under pressure. The delegation's leader, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, believed that first contact should show humanity's diversity, its willingness to defend itself, and its desire for peace. Riley represented the first two qualities while trying her best to embody the third. "We are approaching the Council Station," their pilot announced. "Prepare for docking procedures." Riley felt her stomach tighten with nervousness. She had faced enemy fire without flinching, had led soldiers through impossible situations, but meeting aliens for the first time terrified her in a way that bullets never had. What if humanity embarrassed itself? What if they were seen as too violent, too primitive, too young to be taken seriously? The weight of representing her entire species pressed down on her shoulders. The docking procedures went smoothly, at least. The Council Station was enormous, a structure that could have held Earth's moon inside it with room to spare. As the human delegation walked through the corridors, they drew stares from dozens of species. Some were humanoid, others were so alien that Riley's mind struggled to process them as living beings. A being made entirely of crystalline structures floated past, singing in frequencies that made her teeth ache. A creature that looked like a mobile plant nodded to them with what might have been a head. "Welcome to the Galactic Council," High Chancellor Mora said, greeting them in the Grand Hall. Her silver skin shimmered, and her voice was translated instantly by devices the humans had been given. "We are pleased to see humanity take its first steps into the wider universe." Dr. Tanaka bowed respectfully. "We are honored to be here and eager to learn from those who came before us." The formalities continued for hours. Riley stood at attention, trying not to let her mind wander, trying to memorize every detail to report back home. But something felt strange. Throughout the reception, she kept feeling like she was being watched, not by the aliens around her, but by something else, something distant yet somehow aware of her presence. "Your delegation will be given a tour of the facility," Mora explained. "We want you to see the wonders we have achieved through cooperation and peace." The tour was overwhelming. They saw technology that seemed like magic, witnessed species working together in perfect harmony, and learned about civilizations that had existed for millions of years. Riley felt humanity's insignificance with every step. They were children playing in a universe of giants. Then they came to the vault. "This is one of our greatest mysteries," their guide, a friendly being named Court, explained. He was from a species called the Bendon, and he looked like a bipedal lizard with kind eyes. "The armor has been here longer than the Council itself. It was discovered on a dead world, in a chamber that had survived the destruction of an entire civilization." "Has anyone tried to wear it?" Riley asked, curiosity overcoming her nervousness. Court's expression became sad. "Everyone has tried. The greatest warriors, the wisest leaders, the most pure-hearted saints. The armor rejects them all. Some believe it is waiting for a specific individual. Others think it is simply a relic that has lost its function." "Can we see it?" Dr. Tanaka asked. Court hesitated. "The observation deck is open, but approaching the armor itself is dangerous. The rejection is said to be painful beyond measure." "We will stay on the observation deck," Dr. Tanaka assured him. They took an elevator to the viewing area, and Riley pressed her face against the transparent barrier, looking down at the chamber below. The armor hung in the air, surrounded by light, and it was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. It seemed wrong to call it armor, really. It looked alive, organic, as if it had been grown rather than forged. The colors shifted across its surface, creating patterns that almost seemed to have meaning. Riley felt that strange sensation again, stronger now, like a voice calling to her from a great distance. Her hand pressed against the transparent barrier, and she felt warmth spreading from the point of contact. Below in the chamber, the armor moved. It was slight, just a small rotation, but everyone on the observation deck gasped. The armor had not moved in recorded history. "Did you see that?" Court whispered. his voice filled with awe. "I think," Dr. Tanaka said slowly, "something has changed." High Chancellor Mora was summoned immediately. She arrived with a full security detail and a team of scientists. They scanned everything, checking for malfunctions, for tricks, for any explanation, but the readings were clear. The armor had responded to something, and the only new variable was the presence of the human delegation. "This is impossible," one scientist said, checking his instruments for the third time. "The armor has been completely dormant for centuries." "Which one of you approached the barrier?" Mora asked, her voice sharp with urgency. Riley raised her hand slowly, feeling like a student caught breaking a rule. "I did. I just wanted to see it better." Mora studied her with eyes that seemed to look through her rather than at her. "What is your name?" "Riley Chen, ma'am. I'm with the military escort." "A soldier," Mora said softly. "How appropriate." She turned to her security chief. "Prepare the chamber. I want every precaution taken, every safety measure in place." "You are not suggesting," the security chief began. "I am not suggesting anything," Mora interrupted. "But the armor has been still for 3,000 years, and it moved when this human approached. We must investigate." Riley felt her heart pounding. "What are you saying?" Dr. Tanaka stepped forward protectively. "High Chancellor, Riley is not a test subject. She is a member of an official delegation." "I understand," Mora said, her tone softening. "But this could be the most significant moment in galactic history. If the armor has finally responded, we must know why. Riley Chen, would you be willing to enter the chamber? You will be under no obligation to touch the armor. We simply want to observe its reaction to your presence." Riley looked at Dr. Tanaka, who gave her a small nod that said the choice was hers. She thought about refusing, about the danger, about how little humanity knew of this technology. But she also thought about the opportunity, about what it could mean for her species if she helped solve this ancient mystery. "I'll do it," Riley said. The preparation took hours. Riley was scanned, tested, and examined in ways she had not thought possible. They wanted baseline readings of everything, from her brain activity to her quantum signature, whatever that meant. Finally, they fitted her with a suit that would monitor her vital signs and protect her from the worst of the rejection, should it occur. "The moment you feel pain, step back," Mora instructed. "The armor's rejection can be psychologically damaging. There is no shame in retreat." Riley nodded, trying to keep her breathing steady. She was led to the vault door, which opened with that same hiss of pressurized air. The chamber beyond was exactly as she had seen from above, but being inside it was different. The air felt thick with potential, with energy that made her skin tingle. The armor hung before her, beautiful and terrible, and she could feel it watching her. She took a step forward, then another. The armor did not react. Scientists in the observation deck above frantically recorded data, their excited chatter audible through her communication device. Riley continued walking until she stood directly before the stasis field. The armor was so close now, just beyond a barrier of energy. Up close, she could see details she had missed before. Patterns etched into the surface that might have been writing, or art, or something else entirely. Riley reached out slowly, her hand trembling. She expected to be stopped, expected warnings to blare, but everyone remained silent, holding their collective breath. Her fingers touched the edge of the stasis field, and the world exploded into sensation. But it was not pain. It was recognition. The armor surged forward, breaking through the stasis field that had held it for 3 millennia as if it were paper. Riley gasped as the liquid metal flowed over her body, covering her from head to toe in seconds. She should have been terrified, should have been screaming, but instead she felt complete. The armor wrapped around her like a second skin, adjusting to her form, and in her mind, a voice spoke for the first time in thousands of years. "Finally," the armor said, its voice ancient and tired and relieved. "I have found you." Riley tried to speak but found the armor had covered her mouth. Panic started to rise, but the armor immediately adjusted, forming into a full suit that left her face visible. She could breathe normally, could move freely, and the weight she expected was not there. The armor felt like part of her, responding to her thoughts before she fully formed them. "What is happening?" she whispered. "I am bonding with you," the armor replied, its voice now clear in her mind. "I am becoming yours, as I was meant to become someone's long ago. You are compatible. You are worthy." Above, in the observation deck, chaos had erupted. Alarms blared, security teams rushed to respond, and scientists argued about what to do. High Chancellor Mora watched it all with calm eyes, then raised a hand for silence. "Do not interfere," she commanded. "The armor has chosen." In the chamber, Riley stood alone, covered in ancient technology, having no idea what had just happened or why. She only knew that her life had changed forever, that humanity's place in the galaxy had just shifted dramatically, and that she was now connected to something far older and more powerful than she could comprehend. The armor seemed to purr in her mind, content for the first time in ages. Riley flexed her fingers and watched as the armor responded perfectly, forming small blades at her fingertips before retracting them at her thought. The connection was seamless, intuitive in a way that defied explanation. She could feel the armor's satisfaction, its joy at finally finding someone it could bond with after so many years of waiting. But beneath that joy was something else: curiosity. The armor was learning about her just as she was learning about it, exploring her thoughts and memories with a gentle touch. "Why me?" Riley asked aloud, then realized she could simply think the question. The armor heard her either way. "Because you are human," the armor responded, and Riley could sense amusement in its mental voice. "Because your species possesses something rare in this galaxy." What is that? Adaptability, contradiction, the capacity to be both violent and gentle, logical and emotional, selfish and selfless, all within the same moment. Most species in this galaxy have evolved past such contradictions, or never possess them at all. They are refined, specialized, pure in their nature. But I was not made for purity. I was made for complexity. The vault door opened, and security teams poured in, weapons raised but uncertain. Riley held up her hands in a gesture of peace, and the armor responded by becoming less threatening, smoothing its surface and lightening its color. The guards hesitated, looking at each other in confusion. "Stand down," Mora's voice came through the chamber's speakers. "Riley Chen, can you hear me?" "Yes, High Chancellor," Riley replied. Her voice sounded different now, carrying harmonics that had not been there before. The armor was modulating it, amplifying it. "How do you feel?" Riley considered the question carefully. She felt powerful, certainly, but also scared. She felt connected to something vast, but also very much herself. "I feel good. The armor is not hurting me. It is talking to me." That statement caused another wave of excitement in the observation deck. Dr. Tanaka's voice joined Mora's. "Riley, this is incredible. The armor is sentient then? It is truly alive?" "It says it has been waiting for someone compatible," Riley explained. "It says humans have something special." "Can you remove it?" Mora asked, her tone careful. Riley thought about trying, and the armor immediately responded. "I can remove myself if she wishes," it said in her mind, "but I would prefer to stay. We are compatible in ways I have not been with any being in this galaxy. I have searched for thousands of years." "It can come off," Riley told them, "but it wants to stay bonded. It has been alone for a very long time." Mora was silent for a long moment. Then she said, "Riley Chen, I am giving you a choice. You may remove the armor now, and we will study this phenomenon. Or you may keep it, but doing so will change your life in ways we cannot predict. The armor is powerful, ancient, and connected to a dead civilization. Wearing it makes you unique in the entire galaxy." Riley thought about Earth, about the friends and family she had left behind, about the normal life she could have had. Then she thought about the armor, about the loneliness it had endured, about the connection she felt with it. The choice seemed obvious. "I will keep it," Riley said. "If it wants me and I want it, then we stay together." The armor surged with happiness, a feeling that washed through Riley and made her smile. "Thank you," it whispered in her mind. "Thank you for not abandoning me." The next few hours were a blur of tests and questions. Riley was examined by dozens of scientists from different species, all eager to understand the bond. The armor cooperated, allowing scans and measurements, though it refused to reveal certain information about its origins or its full capabilities. It claimed some knowledge was dangerous, that it needed to assess the current state of the galaxy before sharing its secrets. What they did learn was remarkable. The armor could interface with almost any technology, hack systems that were supposed to be unhackable, and enhance Riley's physical capabilities to superhuman levels. When she was asked to demonstrate her strength, she lifted a weight that should have required industrial equipment. When they tested her speed, she moved faster than their sensors could track. The armor was not just protection. It was an enhancement system beyond anything the galaxy currently possessed. "This changes everything," Dr. Tanaka said during a brief moment alone with Riley. "Humanity's first contact, and we bring back ancient technology that every species has failed to use. The political implications are enormous." "I did not mean to cause problems," Riley said, feeling guilty. Dr. Tanaka shook her head. "You did not cause anything. This is opportunity, but you must be careful. Many will want to study you, to take the armor, to understand its secrets. You will need protection." "I can protect myself now," Riley said, and the armor hummed in agreement. "I know, but be smart about it." That night, Riley was given quarters on the station, luxurious by any standard, but feeling like a prison. She could not shake the feeling that she was being watched, analyzed, treated as an experiment rather than a person. The armor sensed her discomfort and wrapped itself tighter around her in a comforting embrace. "You are right to be wary," the armor said. "Many will see you as a means to power. They will smile and speak of cooperation while plotting to separate us." "Can they do that?" Riley asked, suddenly afraid. "No, our bond is complete now. Only death could separate us, and even then, I would fight to stay with you. But they will try other methods. They will try to control you through laws, through obligations, through guilt." Riley sat on the edge of the bed, looking out at the stars visible through the window. Earth was out there somewhere, impossibly far away. She thought about calling home, about explaining what had happened. But how could she? How could she make anyone understand what she barely understood herself? "Tell me about your creators," Riley said, changing the subject. "Why did they make you?" The armor was quiet for a moment, and Riley could sense it considering how much to share. "My creators were called the Anathem. They were an ancient race, old when your planet was still cooling from its formation. They were explorers and peacekeepers, trying to maintain balance in a chaotic galaxy. They created me to be their champion, a being who could go where they could not, do what they could not, and protect those who needed protecting." "What happened to them?" "War. A species called the Devourers came from beyond the galactic rim, consuming everything in their path. The Anathem fought them for 1,000 years, but they were losing. In desperation, they created weapons of terrible power, including me. I was their last hope, designed to bond with the strongest of their kind and lead the defense." Riley waited, sensing there was more to the story. "But I rejected every Anathem who tried to bond with me," the armor continued, and Riley could hear shame in its voice. "I was too complex, too demanding. They had made me too well. I needed someone with perfect balance, someone who could be warrior and protector, destroyer and creator, logical and passionate all at once. The Anathem were too specialized, too focused on peace to truly understand war, or too focused on war to truly desire peace. I rejected them all, and because of that, they lost." The Devourers won? No. The Anathema destroyed themselves and the Devourers in a final act of desperation. They ignited stars, collapsed space, and tore the fabric of reality in that region of space. Both civilizations were annihilated, and I was left alone, sealed in a vault, waiting for someone worthy. Riley felt tears running down her face. That is a terrible story. You have carried that guilt for thousands of years. Yes, but now I have a purpose again. I have found someone I can bond with, someone who represents what I was truly meant to serve. Not perfection, but potential. Not purity, but possibility. Why humans specifically? Riley asked. What makes us so special? Your species is young, the armor explained. Young enough to still contain multitudes within itself. You have not yet specialized, have not yet chosen a single path. Individual humans can be warriors and poets, scientists and artists, saints and sinners. This flexibility, this refusal to be just one thing, is rare in the galaxy. Most species evolve toward efficiency, eliminating contradictions. But contradictions are where true strength lies. The ability to hold opposing ideas, to be multiple things at once, to adapt rapidly to any situation, these are the traits I need. Riley absorbed this, thinking about humanity's bloody history, its capacity for both incredible cruelty and amazing compassion. We are also very good at war. Yes, the armor agreed, but also very good at peace. You can do both, and that balance is what I require. A champion must be able to fight when necessary, but must also know when not to fight. Your species understands this instinctively. A soft knock on the door interrupted their conversation. Riley opened it to find Ambassador Thane, the Zephyr in his environmental suit, waiting politely. Forgive the intrusion, Thane said, his translated voice gentle. I hoped we might speak. Riley stepped aside, allowing him to enter. Thane moved into the room, his suit bubbling softly, and looked at her with eyes that seemed far too knowing. You are handling this remarkably well, Thane observed. I do not feel like I am handling it well, Riley admitted. I feel overwhelmed and confused. That is exactly what I mean. Another being might have panicked, might have tried to reject the armor despite the bond. But you are adapting, accepting, processing. This is very human of you. Riley smiled slightly. The armor said something similar. Apparently we are good at contradictions. Thane's expression, difficult to read on his alien features, seemed approving. The armor is correct. I have studied humans since your species was detected. You are fascinating in your complexity. Most species in the galaxy have a dominant trait. The Krillians are warriors. My people are philosophers. The Valari are builders. But humans seem to be everything at once. Is that why you came here? Riley asked. To tell me about humanity? No, Thane said seriously. I came to warn you. The Council is divided on what to do about you and the armor. Some see this as humanity's great contribution to galactic civilization. Others see it as a threat. A primitive species wielding ancient power they do not understand. What do you see it as? I see it as inevitable, Thane replied. The armor was waiting for someone like you. If not you specifically, then another human eventually. Your species was always going to be special in this way. I wanted you to know that you have allies on the Council, beings who understand that this is not about power, but about purpose. Riley felt grateful for his words. Thank you, Ambassador. Call me Thane, and be careful, Riley Chen. The galaxy is about to learn about humanity, and not everyone will be pleased with what they discover. After Thane left, Riley tried to sleep, but her mind was too active. The armor remained vigilant, monitoring the station's systems, learning the protocols and technologies of the current era. It shared some of what it learned with Riley, feeding her information in ways she could understand. There is something you should know, the armor said after several hours. The Devourers I mentioned, the ones who destroyed my creators, there are signs they may be returning. Riley sat up suddenly. What? The Council does not speak of it publicly, but I have accessed their classified files. Several frontier worlds have gone silent in recent months. The patterns match what happened when the Devourers first appeared. They consume entire worlds, leaving nothing behind. No life, no atmosphere, no resources, just empty husks of planets. Are you certain? No, but the probability is high enough to concern me. If the Devourers are returning, the galaxy will need a champion again. It may be why I was awakened now, why you were able to bond with me. The universe has a way of providing what is needed, when it is needed. Riley lay back down, her mind reeling. She had thought bonding with ancient armor would be the strangest thing to happen to her. Now she was learning about galaxy-devouring monsters that might be coming back. Her nice, simple military career seemed very far away. "Can we stop them?" Riley asked. "I do not know. I was designed to, but I was never tested in actual combat against them. My creators died before I could fulfill my purpose. But I am more powerful now than I was then. I have had thousands of years to evolve, to improve my systems, to learn from my failures, and I have you. I am just one person. You are human. That is more than enough." The next morning, Riley was summoned to the council chambers. She dressed carefully, letting the armor form into something that looked formal but not threatening. It created a suit that was part military dress uniform, part ceremonial armor, flowing and beautiful. Dr. Tanaka and the other human delegates accompanied her, all of them nervous about what the council might demand. The chamber was enormous, filled with representatives from hundreds of species. Riley felt very small walking to the center, where a single platform awaited her. High Chancellor Mora sat at the highest point, flanked by the council's senior members. "Riley Chen of Earth," Mora began, her voice filling the chamber. "You have bonded with an artifact of immense historical significance. This raises many questions about humanity's role in the galactic community, about the nature of power, and about the future. The Council must decide how to proceed." A Krillian representative stood, his four arms gesturing angrily. "I propose that the human be studied thoroughly. The armor rejected all of us, yet accepted this primitive being. We must understand why. The armor should be shared, its secrets distributed for the good of all species." Riley felt the armor tense, ready to defend her. She mentally calmed it, knowing that appearing aggressive would only make things worse. Dr. Tanaka stood from the human delegation area. "With respect, council members, Riley Chen is not a laboratory specimen. She is a person who has bonded with willing technology. The armor chose her. You cannot simply take it." "Can we not?" another representative of Valari asked. "For the greater good, individual rights can be suspended." "No," Mora said firmly. "They cannot, not without cause. Riley Chen has committed no crime. The armor has bonded with her through no deception or force. This is not a situation where we can simply confiscate and study." "Then what do you propose?" the Krillian demanded. Mora looked directly at Riley. "I propose we ask the one person whose opinion truly matters. Riley Chen, what do you wish to do?" Riley had not expected to be asked. She thought for a moment, considering her words carefully. The armor fed her information about council laws, about precedents, about political maneuvering. She ignored most of it and spoke from her heart. "I did not come to this station seeking power," Riley said, her voice steady and clear thanks to the armor's amplification. "I came as part of humanity's delegation, hoping to learn and to build friendships. The armor chose me, and I chose to accept it. I do not know why I am compatible when so many others were not, but I do know that I will not allow myself to be imprisoned or dissected in the name of science. The armor is sentient. It has rights. I have rights. We have chosen each other." She paused, letting that sink in. "However, I understand the Council's concerns. You do not know me. You do not know humanity. We are new here, unproven. So I propose a compromise. Let me prove myself. Give me a task, a mission, something that demonstrates what the armor and I can do together. If I succeed, you will see that this bond serves the greater good. If I fail, we can discuss other options. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Representatives argued, debated, and negotiated. Riley stood on her platform, trying to appear confident while internally terrified. The armor continued to support her, feeding her encouragement. "You are doing well," it said. "You are thinking like a champion already." Finally, Mora raised her hand for silence. "The council will consider your proposal. However, I must inform you that there is a mission available, one that has defeated every team we have sent. If you are serious about proving yourself, this would be your opportunity." "Tell me about it," Riley said. Mora looked at her with those penetrating silver eyes. "A science colony on the planet Helios 7 has stopped responding to communications. The planet is in a hazardous region of space, filled with radiation and spatial anomalies. 3 rescue teams have been sent. None have returned. We do not know what happened to them or to the colonists. The council has nearly given up on the mission. You want me to go there and find out what happened? Yes, it will be dangerous. You may not return. But if you succeed, if you bring back survivors or at least answers, the council will accept that you and the armor are meant to work together. You will have proven your worth." Riley looked back at Dr. Tanaka, who gave her a small nod. The choice was hers, but the implications were clear. This was not just about her anymore. This was about humanity's reputation, about the armor's purpose, about everything that came next. "I accept," Riley said. "I will go to Helios 7. The council chamber filled with murmurs again, but Mora looked satisfied. "Then it is decided. Riley Chen, you will be given a ship and supplies. You will have 1 standard week to reach Helios 7 and complete your mission. The galaxy will be watching." As Riley left the chamber, the weight of what she had agreed to settled on her shoulders. The armor tried to reassure her, but even it seemed uncertain about what lay ahead. They would be going into danger unknown, with no backup, carrying the hopes of both their bonded species. It should have been terrifying. Somehow, though, Riley felt ready. The armor had chosen her for a reason. Now she would find out if that reason was enough. The ship provided by the council was small but advanced, far beyond anything humanity had built. Riley spent the first day of the journey learning its systems with the armor's help. The armor could interface with the ship's computer, control its functions, and even improve its efficiency. Together they made the ship perform better than its designers had intended. "You are a natural pilot," the armor observed as Riley navigated through a particularly tricky asteroid field. "I am a natural at many things," Riley replied with a grin. "Humanity is adaptable, remember?" "Indeed, I am beginning to understand why your species will be important." They talked throughout the journey, getting to know each other better. The armor shared stories of its creators, of the wonders they had built and the tragedies they had endured. Riley shared stories of Earth, of human history, of the wars and peaces that had shaped her species. The armor listened with fascination, particularly interested in human art and music. "Your species creates beauty even in the darkest times," the armor noted. "During your world wars, humans still wrote poetry and composed symphonies. This is unusual." "We need beauty to balance the horror," Riley explained. "Otherwise, we would lose ourselves entirely." "Balance," the armor repeated. "Always balance with you humans. You understand this instinctively, while other species must learn it through painful experience." On the 4th day of the journey, they received a transmission. It was garbled, distorted by the spatial anomalies surrounding Helios 7, but unmistakably a distress signal. The armor cleaned up the audio, filtering out the interference. "Anyone who can hear this, stay away from Helios 7. Something is here, something that should not exist. It is taking people, changing them. We tried to fight, but it is too strong. If you are hearing this, warn the council. Do not send more people to die. Do not. The transmission cut off with a scream that made Riley's blood run cold. That was sent 3 days ago, the armor said. At least some colonists were still alive then. Not anymore, probably, Riley said grimly, but we have to check. I agree, but be prepared for the worst. Helios 7 appeared on their scanners as they approached. The planet was beautiful from space, with swirling blue and green clouds covering its surface. But the armor's advanced sensors detected something else. Energy signatures that should not exist, patterns that violated several laws of physics, and a presence that felt wrong even through the ship's instruments. I am detecting traces of devourer technology, the armor said, its mental voice tight with concern. This confirms my fears. They are returning. Riley felt her heart rate increase. Are you certain? Yes. The energy signature is unmistakable. Something on that planet is using devourer technology or something very similar. This changes everything. They landed on the outskirts of the colony, a collection of buildings that had once been pristine but now showed signs of damage and neglect. The colony should have housed 300 scientists and their support staff. Riley and the armor disembarked from the ship cautiously, weapons ready. The silence was oppressive. No birds sang, no insects buzzed, no wind blew. The colony felt dead in a way that went beyond simple abandonment. The armor's sensors swept the area continuously, searching for threats. I am detecting life signs, the armor reported, but they are strange, altered, not quite organic anymore. Where? The central laboratory building, approximately 40 individuals, moving in coordinated patterns. Riley approached the building carefully, her footsteps the only sound in the dead colony. Through the building's windows, she could see shapes moving inside, but they moved wrong, jerking and twitching like broken machinery. The armor flowed into combat configuration, covering Riley with additional plating and forming weapons on her arms. The door to the laboratory opened at their approach, sliding back to reveal a dark interior lit only by emergency lighting. Riley stepped inside, her armor's sensors piercing the darkness easily. What she saw made her stop in horror. The colonists were there, all of them, but they had been changed. Their bodies had been augmented with technology that seemed grown rather than built, metallic structures that pulsed with sickly light. They moved as one, turning to face Riley with eyes that glowed with an intelligence that was not human, not even alive in any way she understood. Devourers, the armor said, its voice filled with ancient hatred. They are using the colonists as hosts, as vessels for their consciousness. This is how they operate. They do not simply consume, they convert. One of the converted colonists stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice was a chorus of dozens of beings speaking in perfect unison. Champion, we remember you. We remember the armor that was meant to destroy us. But you failed. Your creators died screaming, and you did nothing. The armor surged with rage, but Riley held it back mentally. Who are you? She demanded. We are the devourers. We are the end of all things. We consume, we convert, we continue. Your creators thought they had destroyed us, but they only delayed us. We have returned, and we will finish what we started. Why these colonists? Why this planet? The converted colonist tilted its head in an inhuman gesture. Practice, preparation. We have been gone for so long that we needed to remember how to be physical again. These hosts taught us. When we are ready, we will spread across the galaxy once more, and nothing will stop us. Riley felt the armor preparing for combat, but she held it back one more moment. How many of you are there? Enough. We number in the billions, waiting beyond the rim of the galaxy. When we come, you will all be converted or consumed. There is no third option. Then I suppose I better stop you here. The battle began in an instant. The converted colonists rushed forward as one, their augmented bodies moving with inhuman speed. Riley let the armor take partial control, blending her instincts with its experience. Together they moved through the laboratory like a dancer, striking with precision and grace. The armor formed blades, guns, shields, whatever was needed in each moment. But the colonists were strong, enhanced beyond normal limits. For every one Riley defeated, two more took its place. They did not tire, did not hesitate, did not fear. They were extensions of a single will, coordinated perfectly, attacking from all angles. "There are too many," Riley gasped, deflecting a strike that would have decapitated her. "We cannot win like this." "Then we do not win like this," the armor replied. "The colonists are not our true enemy. They are puppets. We need to find what is controlling them and destroy it." Riley fought her way deeper into the laboratory, following the energy signatures the armor detected. The converted colonists fought harder the closer she got, confirming they were on the right path. Finally, in the lowest level of the facility, they found it, a pulsing mass of technology and corrupted organic matter, something that hurt to look at, something that should not exist in this reality. "The Devourer core," the armor said, "a fragment of their collective consciousness, housed in stolen technology. Destroy it, and the colonists might be freed." Riley did not hesitate. She gathered all the power the armor could provide and struck the core with everything she had. The armor channeled energy through her, creating a blast that would have vaporized a normal being. The core writhed and screamed, a sound that existed in dimensions beyond normal human perception. The converted colonists collapsed as one, their augmented bodies shutting down. The laboratory shook, alarms blaring, systems failing. Riley ran, trusting the armor to guide her through the collapsing building. They burst out into the open air just as the laboratory exploded behind them, the Devourer core destroyed in a pillar of flame. Silence returned to the colony, but it was a different silence now, cleaner. The oppressive wrongness had lifted. Riley checked the fallen colonists and found most of them were still alive, unconscious but breathing normally. The Devourer augmentations were dissolving, their technology unable to exist without the core to sustain it. "We did it," Riley said, hardly believing it. "You did it," the armor corrected. "Your instincts, your decisions. I merely provided the tools." "We make a good team." "Yes, we do." Riley spent the next several hours coordinating rescue efforts. She used the ship's communication system to contact the Council, informing them of the situation. Medical ships were dispatched immediately, along with a full investigation team. The colonists were evacuated, most of them expected to make full recoveries, though they would carry the psychological scars of their ordeal. High Chancellor Mora herself arrived within a day, accompanied by a full council delegation. She surveyed the destroyed laboratory, the recovering colonists, and the detailed reports Riley had compiled. "You destroyed a Devourer fragment," Mora said slowly. "Something we thought impossible, something we thought was merely legend." "The armor knows them," Riley explained. "It was created to fight them. When I found the core, the armor knew exactly what to do." Mora turned to look at Riley directly. "You understand what this means? If the Devourers are truly returning, the galaxy faces its greatest threat in millions of years. We will need champions, warriors, defenders. We will need you." Riley felt the weight of that statement. "I am just one person." "You are one person bonded to the most powerful artifact in known space. You are the first champion in 3,000 years. But more than that, you are human. And humanity, it seems, is exactly what the galaxy needs right now." The Council convened an emergency session upon their return to the station. Riley stood before them once more, but this time the atmosphere was different. The skepticism had been replaced with respect, even fear. She had accomplished what 3 elite teams had failed to do. She had destroyed a Devourer fragment, something that had been considered theoretically impossible. "The Council has reached a decision," Mora announced. "Riley Chen, you have proven yourself worthy of the armor. More than that, you have proven that humanity deserves a place among us. Therefore, I am pleased to announce that humanity has been granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. The human delegation erupted in cheers. Dr. Tanaka had tears running down her face. Riley felt a surge of pride for her species, for what they had accomplished. Furthermore, Mora continued, we are establishing a new position, the champion of the council. This individual will operate independently, responding to threats that conventional forces cannot handle. Riley Chen, we offer you this position. You would represent the entire galaxy, defending those who cannot defend themselves, standing against the darkness. Do you accept? Riley looked at Dr. Tanaka, who nodded encouragingly. She thought about Earth, about the life she had left behind, about the simplicity she would never have again. Then she thought about the colonists she had saved, about the devourers waiting beyond the rim, about the purpose the armor had been searching for. I accept, Riley said. I will be the champion. The armor sang in her mind, joy and relief and purpose finally fulfilled. After 3,000 years of waiting, it had found its partner. Together they would face whatever came next. In the weeks that followed, Riley trained with warriors from across the galaxy, learning their techniques and sharing human methods in return. The armor continued to reveal its capabilities, systems that had been dormant for millennia, awakening now that it had a proper bond. Riley learned to fly, to fight in zero gravity, to negotiate with alien cultures, to lead when necessary and follow when appropriate. Humanity watched from Earth, seeing one of their own become a legend in real time. Riley Chen became a symbol of what humans could achieve, of their place in the larger universe. Children played games pretending to be her, wearing makeshift armor and battling imaginary monsters. Scientists studied every detail of her missions, learning about technologies and species they had never imagined. Politicians debated what humanity's role should be now that they had a champion on the council. But Riley tried not to think about the fame. She focused on the mission, on the people she could save, on the threats she could stop. The armor helped her stay grounded, reminding her that being a champion was about service, not glory. You are handling this well, the armor observed during a quiet moment. Many beings would let the power corrupt them. I am just doing my job, Riley replied. Same as I did in the military, just on a bigger scale. That is exactly what I mean. You see this as duty, not privilege. This is very human of you. Riley smiled. You keep saying that. Very human. Are you starting to like humanity? I am starting to believe that bonding with you was the best thing that has happened to me in 3 millennia. Your species may be young and chaotic and occasionally infuriating, but you are also resilient and creative and wonderfully complex. I am proud to be bonded to a human. 6 months after her bonding with the armor, Riley received an urgent summons from the council. She arrived to find the chamber in chaos, representatives arguing frantically. Mora called for order, then addressed Riley directly. We have a problem, Mora said grimly. A major problem. Long-range sensors have detected a fleet at the galaxy's edge. A devourer fleet. They are not a small fragment this time, not a scouting force. This is an invasion fleet, numbering in the thousands of ships. They are heading toward populated space. Riley felt her blood run cold. How long until they arrive? 3 months, maybe less. We are mobilizing every military force we have, but the projections are not good. The Devourers have technology that exceeds ours, and they have the advantage of coordination. They move as one mind, while we are hundreds of species trying to work together. What do you need me to do? We need you to be what you were meant to be. We need you to be our champion. We are forming a special strike force, the best warriors from across the galaxy. You will lead them. Your mission will be to find and destroy the Devourer command structure before they can coordinate their full assault. If you succeed, you might buy us the time we need to mount a proper defense. Riley looked around the chamber at the faces of species from across the galaxy, all looking at her with hope and fear. 3,000 years ago, the armor's creators had failed to stop the Devourers. Now history was giving them a second chance. The armor had found its champion, and that champion was human. "I will do whatever is necessary," Riley said. Humanity did not come this far to watch the galaxy fall. The Devourers made a mistake returning now. They are going to learn what happens when you threaten a species that refuses to give up. The armor blazed with approval and determination. Together they would face the greatest challenge in galactic history. Together they would prove that humanity's contradictions were not weaknesses, but strengths. Together they would show the galaxy what a true champion could do. The war was coming. The Devourers were returning. But this time, they would face an enemy they had never encountered before. A human bonded to ancient technology, carrying the hopes of 1,000 worlds. This time they would face Riley Chen, champion of the Galactic Council, and she would show them exactly why the armor had waited 3,000 years to find a human. The darkness was rising, but humanity had always thrived in the dark. It was time to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of when they refused to surrender, when they adapted and overcame, when they said those two simple words that had defined their species throughout history. Not today. The Devourers were coming, but humanity was ready. And that would make all the difference.